Dr. Karen, you only have 5 minutes left.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry for that.
this is the last slide. Eh, so beyond the therapy room, Fanon really goes into the how healing needs to be a social thing. So like not an individual thing, but of people joining together. So where the oppressed people unite to creatively cope with oppression and demand the right to their own humanity is the only cure to the suffering under oppression. Yes, so probably not through submitting to the expertise of Eurocentric practitioners, but through resistance to colonialism, Hernandez says. Yes, and Fanon, to finish, he speaks about sociotherapy, and liberation is experienced when the oppressed are able to engage in cultural relevant creative tasks at the group level. Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Karen. Dr. Karen, so we have heard and we have known and you have explained very well related with the decolonializing perspective of Western counseling. So maybe there are some people who want to have question, want to raise their question with to Dr. Karen. Dr. Karen, is it okay if there is one or two questions?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So she allow it. So maybe there are students or maybe there are experts who want to ask to Dr. Karen related with it our to this topic. Just please raise your hand, or maybe you can just type it in the chat box below. Okay, it seems that they are quite shy actually, or they because like it's quite new perspective that we get related with the colonial perspective of Western counseling. So some of us actually have already practiced it because one of my colleague, for example, he has developed the Javanese Javanese value rooted counseling. Now, okay, we have one question from the audience here. Okay, Mr. Saiful Hartoyo, can you deliver your question? Okay, please, Mr. Saiful, can we have your question? I think there's a problem with his mic. Okay, Mr. Saiful, we cannot hear you clearly, Mr. Saiful.
I think there are two people who have written as well in the
Yes. So, Mr. Saiful, we will back to you after we read the question in the chat box. So there is one question. So Dr. Karen, maybe you can see it in the chat box from Adelia Satsabila. How Asian culture can blend with American culture, and how do they understand that Westerners cannot accept Asian culture? So it's interesting, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm not sure. So how Asian culture can blend with American culture, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it should. And I think, it will depend a lot on the context and the person involved. But the other one is how do they understand that Westerners cannot accept Asian culture? Yes, I think that's something important, right? That speaks to what I was saying with the cross-cultural of how implicitly, even if that's not directly acknowledged, I will argue that Western culture can be placed in a more superior place. So that, it's hard then to accept Asian culture as a legitimate different way of being. So yeah, I will kind of sort of agree with that, I guess, and I think it's a constant process of of, I will say, kind of embracing your own cultural way of being, but it has a fight as well in that, like a fight with the internal oppression that we can feel, when we think less of ourselves because of not being quite like the West, but also in terms of putting forward our needs. And then the other question, so the cross-cultural counseling challenges of the universality. Should counselors focus more on adapting to cultural values of their clients, or should they stick to existing counseling theories? Well, I think that's a great question, and I think that if you only stick to existing counseling theories, the problem of that is that you might force, or you might kind of negate the cultural reality and specificity of that person, because counseling theories are more Western in their inception. Then that could become quite violent towards someone from another culture if we kind of just sideline that. And that's why, more cross-cultural approaches to counseling exist. So I will recommend kind of more going towards that, and especially the more critical deal with that. And then the other question is, if counseling aspires to be neutral and universal, how can we ensure it still respects cultural and social context? Yes. So I think, again, that's kind of something in process. So I think that you can be part of that Asian context and culture, and how then therapy can adapt to that. Maybe how therapy or therapeutic theories can give you some tools that you can integrate in some way, but not something that kind of that you take as long as it serves you, but also that you challenge and that you move. Then, right. So how can we avoid privileging Western ways of speaking and expressing, and make room for different forms of communication like silence, metaphor, or gesture? Yeah, well, that was because of a movie, but it's great to understand it in this way. Yeah. I'm not sure how to do that exactly, but I guess that if you have,
Okay. Dr. Karen, can we return to Mr. Saiful? I think he's waiting. Hello, Dr. Karen?
I think I was mute. Do you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
You were mute. Okay. Mr. Saiful, hello. Are you still with us? Mr. Saiful, do you still have question or everything is okay? I'm so sorry, Karen. I will use bahasa Indonesia. Um, Bapak Saiful, apakah sudah ada pertanyaan?
Sudah lewat chatting, lewat chat.
Okay, okay, okay. Dr. Karen, he has okay, he has write it in the chat box. Saiful Hartoyo said that how to embody this concept from the Buen Vivir and then concept. How to embody this concept in daily life, particularly within schools, and what role can a counselor play in providing solution for students or university students? And also, this translation maintains the original meaning while ensuring clarity and flow in English. Would you like help with further elaboration or example on how to apply this in a daily life or within the role of counselor? So if he wanted to be applicative. That's it.
Yes. Yes. Um, yeah. Well, buen vivir is like a good way of living, or living well. I think it could be translated like that. How it could be applied, I think, well, that's a whole. question that I haven't thought about that much, especially like in the context of schools. But I think that it will be to think that living well is not only that you as an individual are well, but that you are in good relationships with others, but not only with other people, but also with nature and with society. So, for example, I don't know, in a school, it will be to think about how students relate to each other, the teachers with the students, and how that can foster something that gives a good way of living, or how the school relates to society, or I don't know, how you manage the food that you eat or the waste that you produce, etc. So I think that there could be like a few ways of thinking about that. And, like I think it will be great if you take this concept. I think it's a great concept. But I'm also sure that from your own context, you also have other concepts that speak about like a good way of living that is different from the more kind of Western way of thinking about that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Karen. I think we already reached the end of today's session. That was
Yes.
really a good presentation. Now I will read some notes that I have taken for you from your session. So the participant we just heard an insightful keynote from Dr. Karen titled Challenging Counseling Aspiration to Neutrality and Universality. Her presentation actually invited us to reflect on how counseling has developed over time and how it understood across different cultural and social contexts from 1930 and so on. It was really comprehensive. And also, she began by tracing the history of counseling in English-speaking countries. She showed us how, in earlier decades, support was often provided through welfare-based institutions. Over time, however, this shifted toward more individualized therapy-focused practices, especially under neoliberal system. She also highlighted the main approaches in the UK, such as person-centered, psychodynamic, and integrative, and explained how this have shaped counseling emphasis on autonomy, self-reliance, and balanced relationship. Also, she also raised a critical question that actually we also should have in Indonesia. Can Western therapeutic models really be considered neutral or universal by bringing the study case of Alicia and Rogers? What may have what may be seen as an authentic expression of emotion in one culture may look very different in another, as, for example, Indonesia and also UK. To illustrate this, she drew on example of Buddhist Sri Lanka, where suffering is understood as part of the human condition, and from Japan, where Morita therapy emphasizes acceptance and moving forward in life. And also, I want to add one kind of counseling, which is the Buddhi Santri counseling that is developed by Indonesia. Dr. Kerr, maybe you are interested with so many culture-oriented counseling in Indonesia. And also, those cases remind us that cultural frameworks deeply influence both the meaning of suffering and the ways in which people seek healing. She also reminded us that counseling is never separate from the wider system in which it operates. In fact, therapy can sometimes align with neoliberal values like productivity, independence, and self-optimization. Finally, she closed with a challenge to us as a practitioners and educators. How can counseling remain responsive to diverse cultural experiences while at the same time engaging with the larger social issues? And how can we ensure that counseling is not just helping individuals adapt to existing systems, but also contributing to more just and inclusive futures? So, Dr. Karen, we are really happy to have you here, and also we are really thankful because we already have a lot of fruitful information from you, Dr. Karen. So thank you so much, Dr. Karen, and good morning. And starting from this point, I will hand it over to the master and mistress of ceremony. Okay, master and mistress ceremony, time is fully yours.
Thank you so much. I will need to leave because I need to go to work, but thank you so much for the invitation.
Okay, actually, Dr. Karen, we have like a documentation session. Is that okay? Like maybe 5 minutes?
Just now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we have like a 5 minutes more? Okay, Master of Ceremony and also the operator because we have e-certificate that
Mhm.
need to be handed. Later, I will share it to you through email.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for Miss Jacqueline Karen and Mr. Muhammad Afin Ghazali. As a form of our gratitude to you, we would like to give you a certificate. So, Mr. Afif and the PIC, you may go ahead and share the certificate to Miss Karen.
Okay, thank you. I'm the moderator and I'm the chief executive. So okay, thank you. Okay, Dr. Carrot, can you give us your big
Yeah.
smile?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I just see one part of it, but I understand kind of.
Yes. We always need to have the documentation, Dr. Carrot.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karen. So I will hand it over to the MC again.
Okay, we want just a bit more of your time. I'm so sorry. So we will have a quick documentation session with everyone in the Zoom room. So please, everyone else, go ahead and turn your camera on and we will screenshot each slide. So please, for the BIC, you may go ahead and start the documentation session. Starting from the first slide. 1, 2, 3. The next slide. 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. We are having a technical difficulty a little bit. And the next slide. 1, 2, 3. The next slide. 1, 2, 3. I think that's all for the slide. So we once again say thank you very much to Ms. Karen and Mr. Muhammad Afifin Ghazali for the wonderful seminar. I think that's all from us today. So thank you very much to all the speakers and our great moderator for the wonderful seminar. Please give applause, everyone. Wait a minute, but everyone else in the Zoom room, don't forget we have a
Okay.
certification link, okay, attendance link to have your certificate. Okay, we will share now the QR code for your certificate attendance link. You may fill out the form and don't forget to insert the picture you had with speaker 2, Miss Laura and Winter, and the fourth speaker with Miss Jacqueline Sarah Winter. To be given by your civic answers break. You will be given 15 minutes. For the BIC, you may share the QR code.
Okay, thank you, Anya. Dr. Karen, maybe you can leave the room and you can go to your work and have a nice day, Dr. Karen. I'm so sorry for holding your time a little bit.
All good, all good. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, Dr. Karen.
It was a
Okay,
pleasure being
thank you so
here.
much, Dr. Okay, see you later. I will send it to you
Yes.
through
And
email.
just saying, like, I'm sorry that I couldn't go over all of the questions. We should have put the written questions while I was speaking, so I
Yes.
can respond to them. But I will say also, if you go to the references of my presentation, you can find a lot of sources as well to think about this more. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Karen. See you. Be careful on your way. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Dr. Karen.
Okay, for the QR, you only have 15 minutes to fill out the form. Just, so uh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You only have 5 minutes to fill out the form. So bagi yang silakan scan QR code untuk mengisi form attendance untuk mendapatkan sertifikat kalian. You only have 5 minutes. I'm so sorry. Jadi 16.20 sudah kami tutup. Terima kasih banyak. Setelah mengisi 16.20 kami akan menutup. So we will close at 16:20 after you guys fill out the form. We will wait here. Thank you so much.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. You'll be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At last, our love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the last agenda, that is closing. But before we end this amazing event, we would like to inform you that the Best Presenter Award will be announced 1 week after this event ends. And for the link that we send on the chat box, will be closed at 16:20. So please go ahead and fill your name and fill your data. But because we will close it at 16:20, kita akan tutup linknya dalam 16:20. Tolong diisi secepatnya. Okay, now we move on to the end of this meeting. And before we end this meeting, I'm Ria Suryafatana and
me, Solita Sharudi.
as the master and the mistress of the ceremony, mistress as more as ceremony, we as a human being, we realize that we cannot avoid some mistakes. So we apologize to you all, and we don't forget to say thank you so much for your nice attention. So the last we say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, don't forget to fill out the link. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.